Yo, 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 yo. Let's go. Guten Morgen. Oh, a little dark in here, huh? Just try to remedy that. Not much better. It's that time of day. Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Wayne McDonald. It's a Tuesday. Why don't we trade some currencies? Maybe some dollar pairs, maybe some yen pairs. How about gold and oil? Maybe some exotics. Whatever you want, it's your way at Trader's Way with Trader Way. Thank you for very much for being a client of Trader's Way. We appreciate you. Blump, 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 blump. You want an ECN? You got it. You want a variable spread? You got it. You want a fixed spread? You got it. Takes just 30 seconds to open up a demo account. Bada bing, bada boom. Once you're in your back office, you can click to attend these webinars. You can click to download MT4. And once you got all that set up, underneath this video description, there's a link to download all my chart templates absolutely for free. So make sure you do that. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way, when I press start, you're notified. Now, if you find, because it doesn't happen for everyone, but some people say YouTube is slow or never sends out the notification at all, even though you have subscribed and even though you've clicked the little bell thing. So if that's the case, go to twitter.com/FXBootcamp, and I've set that up to automatically notify you when I've started a new webinar or when a new video has been uploaded to the YouTube channel. So whatever works, there's multiple resources for you. Okay, please like, please subscribe, please comment, and please treat your other Forex traders in the chat with dignity and respect as well. Without further ado, let's get on with it. Okay. Excusez-moi. All right, let's take a look at this. This is something that we talked about yesterday, but I think we were way down here, right? Remember, we were talking about, oh, look at that. I literally haven't touched anything. Check that out. So there's yesterday's trade plan setting up today. So if I may add to this a little bit, just a little, this is part of that same plan. Oops. Like you, me, but ooh. Okay, in there, huh? You see it? That's all part of it. That's part of the same thing. Okay. So, terrible, terrible, terrible place to buy if you're a bull. In fact, if you're a bull, you should recognize that you're at a double top, and some of your bullish friends may take profit. That is a risk you need to be aware of. Okay. What else? If you're a bear, having some of the bulls exit is part of the first opportunity. So what you want to do is create a double top. And by the way, this is Euro Kiwi. Okay. You want to create a double top of a double top. So typically what you'll find is we'll have a double top here, which then creates a double top on a higher time frame. Okay, so now you start looking for reversal patterns. So the strategy, if you're a bear, is to look to sell. Do we have resistance? Absolutely yes. First of all, the double top is potentially a reversal pattern, but also remember, this area here is the projected high for the week. Doesn't mean it will be, it just, that's the projected high. Okay, so at the very least, if you're a bear, you move into a smaller time frame. Like I said, we know if this falls, it's going to be a double top on a higher time frame. But really what you want to see is a double top on this time frame. So maybe down to the 55, maybe back up, and then the move. Okay, that being a double top of a double top. Oscar, take a look at dairy. Go to the Fonterra auction website. It's every 2 weeks. Okay. In fact, I could bring it up. We haven't done it in a long time. But yes, these are things you should know. So if this is new to you, you should say, oh my God, what the heck's going on? How come I don't know this? Okay, delete that and get rid of that. Fonterra dairy auction. Sorry about the fire. I'll get rid of the fire. Yeah, that's it. Okay. I'll move over here. You can see there's been a downtrend over the last several weeks. So yeah, no joke. You should watch this website for global dairy prices, and that includes milk, but also lactose and powdered milk and all these different things. They get bought and sold like anything else, and they have trends in their prices, and the prices are based on supply and demand. Okay. So anyway, spend some time on the website. There's lots of stuff you could be looking at here. See butter, buttermilk, lactose, skim milk. Amazing, right? It's amazing what we don't know. But luckily, there's resources for these things. So yeah, spend some time on this website. I'll pop it in the chat. It's like a mirror. Oh, oh, up. Anyways, that will give you an insight on the Kiwi dollar. Okay. Yeah, you guys want to do the peso. Fine. All of this should just be in your trade plans anyways. Should I do it here? Let's do this one. Okay. Okay. What's the trade plan? Okay, near the first of the month. You need to do it this way. Near the first of the month, you need to get short at this price. Okay, this being the first of the month. But we know this. This is the trade plan. It's the trade plan every single month. Okay? And typically this is set up on what's currently a $2.63 billion flow trade. It's such a common occurrence that I created a video about it maybe 2 or 3 years ago. You should probably watch it. It's how to trade the Mexican peso and why it works. And it's flow. Okay? So this trade may or may not present itself every single month around this time. Now this month was a little tricky because of the timing of NFP and all that kind of stuff. But what never, ever, 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 ever changes, ever, the only basis of this trade is near the first of the month you're selling. That's it. So if this is moving now off of Trump tariffs and all this kind of stuff, fine, whatever. It's always something. But the point is that you either consistently trade it or you don't. And remember, probably the main purpose of you as a market participant is to bring consistency, because the market is inconsistent. So if you're inconsistent, you'll never catch these. You'll always be behind the eight ball or behind the curve. And like, oh, well, look at this. This happened because of the Trump thing and blah. Yeah, well, you should have sold it when you were supposed to. That's all. And if you didn't, and if it didn't work out, you wouldn't have made as much money, or maybe you would have lost some money. But over the course of a year, more than 50% of the time, you might have a winner. But even in that case, your winners are supposed to be bigger than your losers. So even if 2/3 of the time it doesn't work, and 1/3 of the time it does work, which are really bad statistics, you'd probably break even. But you know that that's not likely to happen on the long run, because if it doesn't work 66% of the time, then maybe it's just a failed strategy to begin with. If it's a valid strategy, let's say at least half the time it'll work, but your winners are bigger than your losers, so you will be profitable, reasonably profitable. And that's just another feather in your cap that you repeat over and over and over again. But you do other things over and over and over again, and all these gems produce small losers and medium winners most of the time. And that means you end up being quite profitable. A Highlander, the basis of that has to do with people getting paid, getting their paychecks. Okay. Cool, right? Cool beans, right? So anyway, so this downward move is, okay. Great. But what made it work on these ones? I'm showing you here, right? What made that one work? What made that one work? I could probably do a few more of January. That one didn't work. March, there's a short in here. April is about here. May is about here. So like, so if this is the Trump tariffs, what made this one work? What made this one work? Well, that one didn't work. What made this one work? What made this one work? That wasn't very good. This one worked. You see what I mean? Like if you just employ a strategy consistently, you're going to get consistent results. This one didn't work. August, September, October's in here, not very good. November's in here. Okay? If you just can be consistent, at least you can manage your trading. Okay. Neat, right? So this one went great. Good. Sweet. The other way I kind of look at it is this is the market overreacting to Trump adding tariffs, and then this is the market just going back to normal. That's all. Whatever. At the end of the year, none of this will be remembered. I will remember the Trump tariffs on Mexico, but it'll be lost in the noise with other things. Okay. Anything else going on in exotics? Anyone trying to catch the rand? Okay. This may be a turning point, right? Check this out. Nice top, right? Like, look at the bullish side. This predicts that. Well, then it broke out. This predicts that. That was great. This predicts that. That was great. And then this hits that, and then now there's a reversal. right? And maybe working our way down. None of these entries are perfect, so there might be a timing issue. But whatever. Is anyone trying to catch it on the way down? Because remember, this one pays really nice. This is a high yield. Nope. None of my South African brothers and sisters trying to trade that ZAR? Good. Chuck Tuck says euro dollar is still trending down. Well, the reason euro dollar is not very interesting, we'll get there, but it's only going up because people are getting out of the US dollar, which means it's a week up. No, I haven't looked at Commitment of Traders report, but I'm pretty sure nobody's buying it. It's just people getting out of dollar positions. And then also, it's reacting exactly the way you would expect it to react. Okay? It hit the projected top. So let me remind you, before non-farm payrolls came out, I told everybody that this is the projected high for the month of June. And that could be the genesis of a reversal. Doesn't have to be, but buying would be pretty silly. But do you remember where I said if you were going to buy, where you could buy? If you were going to buy, you would buy it here, right? So now we're stuck below where sellers would sell and above where buyers would buy. So what am I supposed to do with it? Chuck Duck says, on the longer term time frame, the time frame's down, the downtrend is still intact. That is a fallacy. Now, first of all, it might be true, but let me point out a couple of things. First of all, I don't know if it's going to go down or up, and I need to be able to say that. So you say on the long run, things are down. Yeah, but now the Fed is actually expected to cut interest rates, which I still don't believe, by the way. But market participants are thinking that portfolios are being rebalanced, strategies are being adjusted. So right now, the market sentiment is that the Fed's going to cut. So you buying US dollars now fundamentally doesn't make any sense. Now that will change once we realize the Fed's not going to cut interest rates. I believe it's just being misreported. And I no longer believe that the media is doing it on purpose. I just don't think they understand what they're doing. But, or maybe they do. I should get, they're selling newspapers and TV ads. But I don't rely on media for my information anymore. So I still just look at the facts and I'm like, there's no reason for the Fed to cut. Okay? Okay, great. But that's the market sentiment right now. And if the market expectations, and by the way, this isn't even a trading thing. This is just standard economics. There's what the economic data says, and then the future expectations. So that's actually finance. So when pricing a bond, it's not just the coupon payment and the amount of time, but it's also the future expectations of interest rates that affect the price of a bond. It's just finance, yo, is another way of saying it. Okay? So, the market expects, right or wrong is irrelevant. The market expects the Fed to change interest rates. Therefore, things like valuations change on all kinds of assets and cash flows. Okay? So therefore, portfolios are being adjusted. And this attitude of like, so 2 weeks ago, that the Fed's raising interest rates, because 2 weeks ago, the Fed was at least paused, and we were at least having a high carry, 2% versus a whole bunch of, much lower currencies, right? So at least you could catch a carry. Like a euro dollar short or a USD Swiss franc long actually had a great carry. Okay? But that world is now dead. You have to understand that fundamentals lead the technicals. And if you don't adapt, what you might face, I'm not saying you will, but what you might face is you keep selling in a downtrend because the daily is down. But meanwhile, that downtrend is dead. And you're like, well, it's been down for a year straight. Yeah, well, the fundamentals were different for a whole year. The Fed was jacking up interest rates while the rest of the world was cutting interest rates. So you can't employ past performance into your future strategy. So you should say, aha. We had Powell kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge that he's open-minded to cutting interest rates. By the way, I don't think that's true, but that's what's being not just reported, but traded. You can see it in the price action. And then we had a mediocre NFP, and now everyone's like, oh my God, the Fed's going to save us. We're only at full employment, right? And we're only at all-time highs in the stock market. Help us, Fed, help us. Well, it doesn't make any sense, but whatever. So that's how the market's behaving. And you should be very careful about not adjusting simply because you believe your technical analysis says down. It might be true, but your technical analysis is lagging. Okay? So you should at least be very open-minded to picking your spots to fight. Now, maybe the spot you want to fight is where we are now. Okay? That's cool. Okay? And this will feel really great to you because your bias is still down. That's great. Okay? But you still need to say, well, I need to be careful. Okay? Because, let's expand this a little bit. If I can get rid of this, there we go. Okay? So maybe their run is over is your logic, which is fine. So we know this is the monthly buy zone for euro dollar, and we know this is the monthly target. And now you can assume, right? You can assume this as a trade. But realize we haven't even busted through this yet. Okay? So I wouldn't be a bear until, I wouldn't be a bear until this happens. Okay. Okay. This would be the short for me. This would be the short for me. So everybody just follow me because we need a little controversy because it feels so empty without me. Okay. Because what we don't know is if the fundamentals have changed, this may be in play. Chuck Duck says if they don't cut. Well, we have June, Sep, Dece are the most likely. I don't think they're going to do anything in June. I don't think they've ever raised interest rates under these circumstances in September. October is generally not a live trade, so December. So if they're going to cut, it'll be December. But I don't think they're going to cut at all unless there's a breakdown in the entire market. Not the stock market. I mean, like, credit is frozen. Okay? So Chuck still says either way, U.S. dollar strong. I like the attitude because right or wrong, because I don't know if you're right. I don't know if you're wrong. I don't know if I'm right. I don't know if I'm wrong. It doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't matter. I really don't care. What I care about is you have opinion. Right. So, but like what I say though, Chuck Duck, is when the market agrees with you, you're going to make a lot of money. When the market doesn't agree with you, you're not going to make a lot of money. So just make sure you're not stubborn. Make sure you're not selling in an uptrend. That's all I'm saying. If there's an uptrend, like look at this, okay? You need to coach yourself and say, ooh, these are not the market conditions in which that are favorable for me. So you need to adjust. That's all I care about. Okay, I'm not trying to get you to agree about my point of view because I don't know if I'm right. But you could at least say, all right, yeah, you can counter trend here, which we talked about during NFB when we were down here. I set up the counter trend. Then now the next one is like maybe you can sell this. That would have been a London Open play, but that was tradable. Now the next thing is sort of this, right? There's another trade, and you don't get aggressive until we reverse this, okay? Which will keep you safe in an uptrend, even if you're a bear. Sure, I totally agree with you. It's only a week and a half, but you could lose a lot of money in a week and a half if you're. There's a difference between being disciplined and being stubborn. The disciplined person would probably just walk away and say, well, I'll wait. A stubborn person will lose a significant amount of money. That's all. And I'm not saying that's you. I'm just saying we always need to be worried about that. What's your take on Dixie as a dollar chart? I don't even understand your question, Lumberjack. There's two types, right? A weighted and a non-weighted. Weighted has much too much euro and not enough CAD. And the other one is equally weighted. That's my take. Pound pairs? Sure. Okay. This is something I set up in NFP as well. And I said, if euro dollar falls, this one will rise, which also means if this one rises, euro dollar will fall. And I said to people at the webinar on Friday, is you should watch both because it's the same trade one way or the other, but one may lead the other, and you want to be on the leader first and get paid, and get on the second one and get paid on that too. And if they both fail, if one fails, they'll both fail. Okay, if one reverses, they'll both reverse. So anyways, this is that coming to life. Now the reason I pointed this one out in NFP, I think I said I like this one better, is this is the move that's likely to happen this week in the best case scenario. The worst case scenario, it only goes there. Okay, but check it out. That gets us back to either way, back into a monthly trend the other way. Okay. It's like a mirror. Oh. Okay, and there's that euro dollar. WTI trying its best, crawling its way up. Crawling its way up. I believe on Monday, so yesterday, I said, if you're a bull, that's your trade plan. So I don't know if you've taken it or not. It's set up off a double bottom. Yeah, that would be the price. Lumberjack. It's just a futures contract. It's not really, because what all they're doing is they're creating their own index, but yeah. But what is my take on it? I don't even understand what that question means, but it's a tradable asset. Technical analysis will work. You can think of it as an asset-backed security. It's not really, obviously, but it takes all the different prices. So like, and I've created my own, and I have them somewhere. I don't use them anymore, but if you look at the value of the dollar versus the CAD versus the Aussie versus the Kiwi versus the pound versus the euro versus the Swiss franc versus the yen versus whatever, right? You can then create an index and say, what is the dollar versus everything? Okay. No, but like there's nothing to have an opinion. It's a tradable asset. Trade it if that's what you want to trade. It represents the dollar versus everything. Now, the means of which you calculate that asset, right? Is it a weighted basket? So either way, it's a basket of currencies. Do you have the same amount of euro as you do CAD? Some people might say, well, the Canadian dollar is not as important as the euro, so you should have more euro than CAD. Okay, that's a weighted basket. It's weighted toward euro. There's more euro, not enough CAD. Well, the problem with that is I might as well just trade the euro USD. So the weighted basket, something like 40 or 50% of it is euro. Well, I might as well just trade euro dollar, because probably 90% of the time the euro dollar in that Dixie will do the same. So I might as well just trade the euro because I'm trading it in Forex. I get higher leverage and I'll earn interest, which you'll never earn on an index futures product. I like earning interest. Now, in this case, you're not going to earn any interest going up, but you can earn interest selling. Quite a bit, actually. Okay? So there's one take. The other one is, it should be equally weighted. There's the same amount of euro as there is CAD. And that's just a different way of doing it. Okay? Dollar versus everything in the current moment. So if the Dixie's going up, you'll say, the US dollar is generally weak. But I don't have an opinion. That's what it is. That's what it tells you, right? No, it's not that it's worthless. It's an asset. You can trade anything. Okay? So in that case, like I said, if the Dixie's going up, the dollar's strong. If the Dixie's going down, the dollar's weak. Now, how you calculate your Dixie just changes. I mean, the math is always going to be the math, right? It's always going to spit out strong or weak. So you have to say, well, how do I define strong or weak? So therefore, some people might like the fact that a weighted basket has a lot of euro in it, and someone else would definitely not want that. Okay, so for example, if euro is weak and it's a weighted basket with lots of euro, it'll artificially make the dollar look strong. So then you start buying like dollar CAD and it's not working out, and you're like, why is it not working out? Well, the dollar also might be weak. It's just not as weak as the euro. And you're like, well, this is all effed up. That's not what I want. I want to know, is the dollar strong today or is it weak today? Well, then maybe you want a non-weighted basket. You see what I mean? But there's no opinion. It is what it is. You calculate the number. It's just math. So if you use a non-weighted basket, or say it differently, an equally weighted basket, and the Dixie's going up, you'll say, generally speaking, the dollar's strong today. Or if the Dixie's falling, you'll say, generally speaking, the dollar's weak today. So maybe I want to look at buying Kiwi dollar. Maybe I want to look at buying Aussie dollar. Maybe I want to look at selling USD CAD. Maybe I want to look at euro dollar long. Okay? So that's all. And that's why I never understand the question, but we have to talk about it so maybe you understand my point of view, because you're like, it's like saying, what's your opinion on mouse? You're like, my opinion? Well, I like to use my mouse instead of using my trackpad, but they're both different ways of controlling my pointer. But do I have an opinion? It's convenient, right? Mouse, good. Okay, Dixie, yeah. Trade it, don't trade it. But it's an asset class. Now, there's lots of people that like trade like synthetic derivatives of trading based on how other people will trade their derivatives, which are then just based on an underlying asset class like the like the dollar index, right? So you can trade almost anything. Anything with a cash flow can be traded. Anything, almost any piece of paper. Even a proof of funds from someone's bank can be traded as an asset. Okay? It's just almost anything can be traded. Okay? All right. So all I say, let me just preface this. If almost anything can be traded, could you possibly be an expert in absolutely everything? And of course, the answer to that is no. Well, here's the issue. Here's what I'm trying to bring up. People will pay you money because you're an expert. So if you can't be an expert in everything, stop trying to do everything. One opportunity sitting right in front of everyone right now is that they can be a full-time dollar index trader. Okay? And there are strengths and weaknesses to this, and you should be able to sit down and explain it with a potential client. You should be able to show your track record of success and really explain like why you believe this is the best opportunity based out of all the opportunities out there. Why is dollar index the way to go? Or oil, or just the energy complex. You might trade nat gas, Brent, and crude. Why? Oh, well, you think it has strategic advantages over other things. Or maybe you just do commodity currencies, Kiwi, CAD, Aussie, for example, and you like that. Or exotics, so you have a high yield fund. Why is that? Or maybe a G20, or maybe just a USD, but not a dollar index. So now you trade pound dollar, euro dollar, or maybe you're long dollar only, or short dollar only, or yen short only. Why? You should be able to explain it and say, because of your specialization, you're the world supreme leader of Japanese yen short. Because of this, you follow Japanese politics and Japanese real estate prices and Japanese industrial production and productivity data and inflation data. You follow all the different people on the central bank. You follow the government and the politics and the trade data, you know, just everything. And you got somehow some unique insight into the Japanese economy. In particular, you're tracking major exporters and you're reading their press releases. And I mean, you're just the world's foremost expert on Japan, specifically on Japanese yen, and even more specifically, the cycle in Japanese yen strength and weakness, which you specialize in weakness, which you need to be a global macro. So now you start sprinkling some global macro on that, in particular to the major trading partners with Japan. Or you could just be a jack of all trades. But when if my roof is leaking, I typically call a roofer. If I break a window, I typically call a window person. If my pipes are leaking, I typically call a plumber. If my lights flutter or I need something installed, I'll call an electrician. But I know in other countries, you call in Bubba. And he does everything. He does it slowly, and he does it poorly, but he does it cheaply. And somehow he'll fix anything. Broken fan, call Bubba. Toilet not working, call Bubba. You got a cobra in your backyard, call Bubba. Okay? But that's a choice, isn't it? Does your economy specialize within itself? And then does it specialize by the way it trades? Right? Yeah, and the roof's still right? So, but, honestly, so we're talking about these sort of big open topics, but what is it that you do? You should think about these things. I like just use a cigar to motivate the thought process, because sometimes you should think about it for 2 hours. What is it that you do as a currency trader? You can't just be a currency trader, right? What is it that you do? What is your purpose? How do you serve someone else's purpose? Because someone's going to come to you and say, I have a whole bunch of problems all related to my money. What is it that you do? You're like, I don't know. What is it that you need? Well, I do a lot of business in Europe, and I'm worried about the value of the euro. Oh, yeah, well, I do euro. People can smell it. They're going to imagine someone that has $10 million to invest, and they're already invested in everything else. It's just another 10 million. They shop around for money managers, and they shop around for, just imagine they're going to sit and listen to 25 elevator pitches and PowerPoint presentations, and they're going to look at all kinds of opportunities. Are you sexy enough to close the deal? Well, you better have a good pitch, and it better be tight. Okay, I don't have a lot of time, so let's try to get in a couple of more. Okay, that's going to be important, and this one will be important. Okay, if we drop below, I suppose I have to, just out of tradition almost. I don't think that might happen. Okay, if we drop below these 3 lines, Chuck Duck's going to be super happy. Kane says, did I have a coach? There was nobody on the planet that traded Forex that I could find. Okay? Couldn't find any Forex traders. So the answer is no. But I'm a pretty ridiculous person, and I take on a lot of responsibility, and I learn from doing. So when I was 22, I ran a company of 3,000 people. That's pretty good for someone that young. Okay. When I was 20, which seems like about the same, but it's not the same. I got into, we'll call it sales. So Raytheon, actually, this came up in the news just like 2 days ago, right? Raytheon is getting bought out by United Technologies and all that kind of stuff. So when I was 20, I'm not even old enough to drink beer. I'm just a kid from rural Saskatchewan. I made my way to California to start going to university. So I'm young, and right? And I call up the vice president of human resources. Vice president of marketing, I think it was. But anyways, for Raytheon, right? One of the largest companies in the United States, and by default, the world, right? Huge defense contractor. Okay, tens of thousands of employees, right? So anyways, I'm 20, and I got to sell this person something, this adult. So I call, and you know, if you've ever been in sales, they're like, you have to get past the gatekeeper. So anyways, there's a gatekeeper. He has a secretary. I call her 3 times a day for about 45 days in a row. Every single day. Every day I'm super nice. Total Bud Fox kind of thing, right? I call. And then finally, they're like, you know what? He wants to see you. Great. I said, well, I'm a college student, so I have classes this time of day, this time of day, and this time of day. So if you can, if you can squeeze it in late afternoon, that would be great. I put on my JCPenney suit, and I get to Raytheon, and I go through security, and I get a badge and everything. And you walk this hallway, and that hallway, and this hallway, and up the elevator, and up this hallway, and that one, and all of a sudden you get to a big room. You walk in, and there's the gatekeeper, the secretary sitting at her desk, and there's like 3 or 4 couches. They're all there, right? I'm thinking about this. This does sound a lot like the Wall Street scene. So I sit there, and then finally, he's ready to see me. And she stands up, and she takes me to the door. Double doors! And he's got a desk there and an entire conference table for like 25 people. Hey, 20 years old. Talked my way into that room. Now we're going to negotiate a deal. And plus, I have to do my sales pitch, right? So he walks down one side of the table, and he says, take the other side. So I'm going down the other side, and we're walking out. It's like for 25 or 30 people, like the largest table you've seen, right? We sit dead center, staring at each other, and there's a big round bowl. And you can see it's covered full of jelly beans. He's like, would you like a jelly bean? And I'm like, no. He's like, you should have a jelly bean. They're really good. I'm like, no, thank you, but thanks anyways. He's like, take a jelly bean. And I reach in, and it's a hologram. There's mirrors inside, and it's completely empty. Even though you're looking at it, and you can see the jelly beans. And he laughs, and I laugh. That's what I was doing when I was 20. Even though I was raised in rural Saskatchewan, somehow I made myself get to California, go to university, and get myself in the boardroom with with a senior executive from one of the largest companies in the entire world. And by the way, I closed that deal. He signed the contract. So did I have a coach for Forex? I was already a very ridiculous person where I could say, look, this is the foreign exchange market. It's $2 trillion a day. I don't know anything about trading. I don't know anything about fundamental analysis. I don't know anything about technical analysis. I don't even know I should know these things. But what I do know is it can go up, down, or sideways. How hard could it possibly be? So you take that with ego that I earned through past success, because I went on to be a successful internet entrepreneur. I went on to be a successful venture capitalist. Now it was Forex, yet another career, so to speak. And I'm like, all I have to do is work my ass off with a ridiculous, sickening work ethic. I'll be able to figure this out. It'll take a lot of effort, a lot of work, and a lot of sacrifice, but I will do it. So I dove in to ridiculous levels. So when I was that kid 20 years ago that got myself into that situation, I was actually sometimes doing 2 or 3 of those meetings a day with different companies. I was sleeping every other day for 4 hours. 4 hours of sleep every other day. So did I have a coach? No, I'm ridiculous. But I'm your coach, and you have a ridiculous coach. Certainly abnormal, and that's something I'm very proud of. So let's leave it at that. I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average. Remember, if you want to watch that video on YouTube about how to trade the Mexican peso and why it works, it's there. It's free. Just click on it. Subscribe, like, comment. Thank you very much for your loyalty. I will see you tomorrow.